Hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. It is Monday, the 9th of November, 2020. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm your host, the amazing Super Chris. I've got my co-hosts, Andy Hall from the Laughing in Disbelief blog over at Pathos, and Nokasuchi from the Rage channel here on YouTube. They're going to join me today, and we're going to talk about enjoying more of that Schadenfreude we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. The Schadenfreude never ends. It's just, it's tasty. Anyway, we're going to talk about that right after this. I'm sinning right here. Do you love Jesus? Do you love America? Do you love yelling at strangers? If you answered yes, then there is a new version of the good book for you. The All Caps Bible. The All Caps Bible has everything from the sacred text you would expect. God creates the world in 6 days. Noah saves bunnies from the great flood. Jesus preaches God's message in the Sermon on the Mount. However, the All Caps Bible levels up the message by putting everything in all caps. That's right, you don't have to go to church to hear God's message yelled at you. This Bible will yell at you while you're reading it. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Christians love the All Caps Bible. Here are a few reviews. Mason in Dallas, Texas says, I don't feel guilty anymore yelling at the Starbucks barista. Karen in Oklahoma says, Jesus' message of forgiveness is better when you yell it. And Tommy in South Bend says, who knew the little drummer boy was such a jerk? Buy the All Caps Bible right now and get a loudspeaker so you too can spread the good news. You get everything for a low cost of $89.99. All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Andy. Hope you had a good weekend. Nokasuchi.
Hey, good morning.
Guys,
it's been such a crazy couple of days. I don't even know. I mean, I know I've been feeling happier than usual, which is pretty hard for me to feel happy and to acknowledge that it's okay. It
hurts, doesn't it?
It is okay for me to be happy.
Yes, I had that too. Little ornery dealing with the Trumpers, and I needed John Peterson to calm me down and say, "Hey, come back to the come back down from that extreme edge for a moment. Trump is gone. You can be happy.
You can chill, relax." I want to say good morning to everybody in the chat, the damn nation. Hello, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Biden became president over the weekend, official-like in sort of fashion. So I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. I watched the war. It was like, I saw this meme. There's this meme. It says, when the world reacts as if the Death Star has just been destroyed. You know, there was like dancing and singing all over the world. In London, dancing and singing, bells are ringing in France. All this stuff, you know, that's a bad sign. You've made bad choices. If that happens.
It felt like the night that we got Osama bin Laden. You remember that? And everybody took to the streets and we were celebrating. That's how it felt. Yeah.
Yep.
To continue my mornings, good morning, the Sassy Heathen. Nice to have you joining us this morning. Uri Ben, Schlade Chimera, Derek Cruz, Ian Davenport, all you wonderful people are joining us. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. We also have lots of people listening and watching on Facebook, listening on the Daily Atheist Morning Show podcasts live, and watching on TrumpFamilyTreason.com live. So good morning to everybody. I hope you had a great weekend. So, we are here today, this morning, to talk about some MAGA tears. Now, I say MAGA tears, and, you know, I am being overly, obnoxious about it, intentionally, But, man, we've had to suffer with he's still your president for 4 years, this guy. For 4 years, this guy has destroyed our country openly and willingly, and these people are just have taunted the left while they do it, and I don't mind taunting them back. You know, if they're going to bawl and cry in the streets like babies because their little Nazi god didn't get into office, I'm going to, I don't feel too bad about it, because after the last election, you guys remember after the last election, the internet was flooded with all these pictures of mostly girls, mostly women, crying with their Hillary signs. Oh, Hillary lost, right? They had zero problem throwing that in our faces. So I don't really have a problem with it. I'm not the better man.
Hannity still plays his little liberal meltdown thing on his show almost every single day, where he goes through all the liberals and their meltdowns when Trump won. Every single day he does that.
Who does that?
Sean Hannity. He has this montage of liberal tears, as he calls it. In every show he plays it. The Young Turks crying, CBS crying, CNN crying, all these people. So yeah, like they don't. It's they're hypocrites,
Yeah. So I need to find a clip of that and just kind of. you were going to say, Andy? I saw your face. Andy was going to say
December 8th. I just want to talk about Lady Starfire. December 8th is the date when states should be resolving their any election issues. Because on December 14th is when the electors are supposed to be voting. So December 8th, I believe it's called officially the safe harbor deadline. And so any governors should be resolving any issues within their state in terms of the popular vote by that time. It is one of the marks on the road.
Lady Starfire, I think, is correcting you and saying December 4th. Are you sure it's December 8th?
I am looking at it right now on crscongress.org.
Yeah, I think it's December 8th.
And it's December 8th. One of the subheadings is December 8th, 2020, the quote, safe harbor deadline. Now, different states have different deadlines, and that's interesting to point out. This is just what the federal regulation is that you have to have it done by the 8th. However, different states, it could be the 4th in some states, to tell you the truth. But from what I understand, the federal deadline is the 8th.
Yeah, and maybe Alaska will have counted 75% of their vote by December 8th. Like, what is going on in Alaska? Seriously.
I don't know. They're like, one for you?
Yeah, you get one vote a day in Alaska,
Yeah.
One for you. I don't know, maybe there's a quota. 10 votes per day. We've counted 10. Let's go home. Let's ride our moose home.
That has to rub Trump the wrong way. The one state that's going to go Trump left on that map, he can't get any of the votes in.
Yeah. Man. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. Have you guys heard about what? There's different things coming out of the White House as to what's going to happen. Have you got what are your takes so far?
From what I saw on Fox News, I was on the Fox News site and I was looking at Fox News this morning. What they are not saying is people should be rising up in arms and fighting the election results. They are saying, court battles. Mitt Romney's was on Chris Wallace this weekend talking about respecting the vote. And of course, he's no fan of President Trump to begin with, but there seems to be messaging about what is going to be happening in 2022 about Republicans taking the House, falling back on traditional Republican talking points like America is a country that doesn't want solar power and things like that. But once again, what there doesn't seem to be emerging is the idea of armed insurrection.
Good.
So it's positive. This is positive.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
it does
I heard
seem
that,
like,
but I also heard they had to shut down a Facebook group because there was a Facebook group that was driving people to their state capitals, and people were starting to march on their state capitals. But I've noticed the mainstream media has been really good about quashing any news. It's kind of hard to find any right-wing nutbag news out there right now, like them doing it, unless they're not doing anything.
This is also positive.
We might have Trump news. Trump news might be the next thing. Like, that's their new push is, Trump did so well in this election, a lot better than anybody thought, got more votes than anybody in the history of the country, except for Joe Biden, of course, that he's still viable and he's still the Republican Party. So they're pushing for him to start his own news organization because, CNN is liberal now, or Fox News is liberal now. And in 2024, Trump would rerun for president. That's what I'm hearing from a lot of the Republicans that are, quote unquote, accepting the results of the election.
Sure. And, what's positive, just want to bounce back to what Chris was saying, is that if Facebook did got rid of that group that was promoting people to take up arms and go to the state capitals, that's a positive sign that Facebook is actively engaged in trying to get a handle or clamp down on this kind of rabid insanity.
Well, and it is encouraging that, you're normal, because me and John got into it yesterday. And I was saying every Trumper is an extremist, but no, the extremists, I think, are starting to really find out that they are extremists and they're on their own. And I saw 50 videos yesterday of normal Trump people going out, taking their flags down, rolling them out, going back inside. So I think a lot of people are starting to accept it, and the extremists are on their own.
Yep. And, this will feed into their victim mentality that evangelicals love to do. And, the world's against them. The powers and principalities of Joe Biden and the Democrats are, you see what I did there, are out to get them. And so they will nurture their hatred until the next election cycle comes around, where they're going to try something crazy again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, depending on the Donald's health in 2024, we might be dealing with Don Jr., who does seem to be trying to put himself up on that pedestal with his dad, and I think that makes it easier on us, honestly.
I haven't seen anything from Donald Trump Jr. to make me think that he can do what his dad's done.
Nothing. Yeah,
Donald Trump is such a freaking lunatic and a force of nature that I don't think any of the Trump clan could really replicate what Donald Trump has done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's this cult of following, though, cult of personality. They're going to follow him no matter what he does. It does not matter what this man does. And then there's a question. Cindy Plaza asks, good morning, Cindy. Hope you had a good weekend. She asks, so what happens to Trumpism when Trump dies naturally? Who becomes the next incumbent? His sons or not? I don't think his sons have it to pull it off. Udo and Kerfu, or whatever their names are, Erdi, and I'm sorry, we're talking about Trump's sons. For those of you who got the Saddam Hussein sons reference, anyway, they don't have the personality to pull any of this off. None of it.
No, I think the next one, and this is the scary part about it, because Donald Trump was so inept, but he was that force of nature. I'm afraid that the next one, the Republican that is going to try to fill Donald Trump's shoes, will be just as awful as Donald Trump, but a lot better at getting away with it. Not so brazenly open with it in the public.
Well, that's the trick. The one thing that, first I want to say hello to Digital Bookworm 5678. They say that they see signs coming down all over their hometown, Trump signs coming down all over their all over their hometown, which is great. But the real problem, of course, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, is having somebody competent who has looked at the Trump playbook and said, well, I can do this, but I can do it better. I can do it smarter. Right. And the big problem with Trump is that he made everyone, those in power, anxious about his lack of respecting democratic norms. The important thing, like what Octavian did after Julius Caesar died, is that he told people the nation is the nation is in chaos, but I'm going to restore the republic, and then centralized all of his power to kill the republic and create the Roman Empire. So that's what we have to worry about. We have to worry about someone who is more competent and smarter, but yet can still do some of the magic Donald Trump has done. And that's why we need to create institutions and empower democratic institutions to make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, yeah, and I think we do need that round of full transparency. Let's find out what exactly happened in Ukraine. Let's make it really hard for the next Trump to come and do what Trump did.
Yep. Here's the deal. To add to that, Epileptic Skeptic asks, do you think his daughters will ever run Trump's kin or whatever? You know what? Here's my notion. they should all be in prison within 3 years.
Yeah.
They should never, ever they should live out their lives in prison. Donald Trump Jr., his daughter, Ivanka Trump, Eric Trump, Kushner, Miller, all of them, Stephen Barr, all of them should live out the rest of their days in prison. And I'm going to do my best to continue to spread that message as much as I can. You know, I'm gonna be one of those people going, let's not forget, and let's keep running this list of things that they've been doing. No. They need to be in prison. Never will they be our president.
The Southern District of New York is coming for him too. He could go bankrupt just trying to keep himself out of prison, because they're not. I learned recently the Southern District, they're not just coming with state charges. They're coming with federal charges against Donald Trump. So they're just waiting for him to no longer be in office so they can do so. That's what I'm reading. We'll see if that happens.
And his kids, though. His kids. There's a lot of things his kids have done. We know him, but his kids do. Will his kids ever run for office?
Yeah, as far as I know, they're going after his business, and his children would be part of that. Again, I'd have to look into it.
Absolutely.
When it comes to Ivanka, I think she threw away any grace that she could have had. Had she been that moderate, had she been that reasonable voice in her father's ear, she would have had a chance. I think she ruined that for herself.
I agree with you. She seemed to be the sane one in the early days of the administration, but no more.
Yeah.
I just want to say this. I just want to do a little bit of morning schadenfreude besides the, I don't know if you guys have saw this story. It might just be hearsay, but there is a rumor that has been reported in various newspapers. Like, I'm looking at the Independent article here from 4 hours ago, and the name of the article is "What Will Melania Do Next? And Will She Divorce Donald Trump?" Just imagine the finger-licking goodness if Melania Trump
show fodder.
Like, she might not even make it to January.
That would be so crazy. So what does the article say, Andy? Enlighten us. Is there does it give
so let me just say that once again, this is from the Independent. If you were a fly on the wall of the White House, where on Saturday would you have wanted to be? Not watching Donald Trump as he returned home from his golf game. His fury and denial was all too predictable. Not watching Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, their despondency and growing alarm was totally expected. The prime spot was certainly wherever Melania Trump was, to watch how she took the news. On the night of 2016 election, we know how she felt. Melania was in tears and not of joy, wrote Michael Wolff in his book Fire and Fury, in an account backed by other reporters. So apparently she wasn't too happy about the Donald actually becoming president. She was
less than happy. If happy were over here, she would have been
right. On Saturday, she may well have felt the same. This time, however, with tears of relief, the 50-year-old Slovenian-born model has done little to dispel rumors of her reluctance to play the game of First Lady. Oh, we all know how she doesn't even like Christmas ornaments. Doesn't even like... I mean, what kind of person? What do you have to do as First Lady, really? Especially if you're Melania Trump. Look pretty, not even hold your husband's hands. Right?
Have you seen the videos?
Oh, it's hilarious how she is
the states covering her. Have you seen that?
Of the state, I've seen the videos of her not wanting to hold his hand.
There's these different, during the election, he was losing these states. Somebody released this clip of it was several clips of her and him walking, and it'd have like Michigan over her face, and he'd reach out to grab it, she'd slap his hand, and then he'd go on. And that
is really funny.
There were several of those. I enjoyed that.
I have to see that.
So let me continue the article. Some went further with former White House official Omarosa Newman claiming she plans to divorce her husband as soon as she can post-presidency. If Melania was trying to pull an ultimate humiliation and leave while he's in office, he would find a way to punish her. Whether the former reality TV show contestant was close enough to the First Lady to know how she felt was unclear. Ms. Newman was fired from the White House and left after a year, going on to release an explosive memoir of her time there and air recordings she made while in the Situation Room in a highly unusual breach of protocol. So, there's a lot of hearsay and rumors about Melania divorcing Trump after the election. I think we can definitely say for sure that there's no love lost between Melania and her sugar daddy, Donald J. Trump.
Gotcha. we've kind of noticed that, right? Even during the campaign, she did not seem like a happy woman. She would, you've seen the video of her sitting behind him, and she's just sitting there, and then he turns around, she's like, and then he turns away, she's
right.
So she's not, and I would love to hear, there's bound to be mad non-disclosure agreement situations going on with her, and but some of those things, like does she get out of those things? That's like because he cheated on her, that freed her of certain things, so she refused to leave the White House or to go to the White House until he agreed to X, Y, and Z. There was just all kinds of craziness. I would love to see her. Then again, she's kind of the same thing, though. How innocent is she? She's unhappy, clearly, but she's also, I don't think she's on our side either.
No, she's reprehensible. She's absolutely reprehensible. The damn jacket. Remember when the kids were being put in the cages and she wore the jacket? She's been right there justifying her husband. She has done absolutely nothing as first lady. She had this cyberbullying campaign as her husband was the biggest cyberbully in the world. I have no compassion or sympathy for Melania.
Yeah, she's a trash person. She's a trash person, just like everyone else in that Trump clan, except for Barron, since he's a kid, and his hands are now bloodied by the insanity of the Trump clan. But she's a trash person.
True. Yeah, Barron is probably the only one I feel bad for, and that's just because he's a kid. Once he's an adult douche like Don Jr., then we can not like Barron too.
It just depends on depends on what happens. Here's the deal. How old is this kid?
Barron is 14.
14. All right, so
or 15 maybe. I'm not sure.
He should, within a couple of years, be a ward of the state.
Yeah.
Should be. Yeah, all his parents. If I had my way, his parents, all of their property, after they're tried for treason, all of their property would be sold off. What they've done to our country, they've bilked our nation for trillions of dollars and given it away. All of their personal possessions would be sold off. He, of course, would go into our what do you call that system?
Child Protective Services.
Our Child Protective Services, the foster system. Yeah. That's where he needs to go.
Well, I had a friend in high school who was an emancipated minor, and I'm sure that those of you in the audience, or maybe some of us who've had some rough, friends who've had some rough times when they were kids, became emancipated minors. So instead of waiting to be 18 to be an official adult, you basically get to control your own life when you're like 17, perhaps.
There's what's her name? The daughter of the spokesperson for Trump, the ex-spokesperson for Trump, the daughter who has been giving us the secrets that she got the cooties. Not McEnany, but the other one, the blonde. Kellyanne Conway. Yeah, her daughter. Can you see can you imagine if Barron Trump were in the White House doing that same thing?
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy, dude.
That would be some craziness.
Might be why they kept him in New York. I think he's going to fall right into his. Yeah, I think he's going to fall right into his parents.
So, Chris, I'm going to throw some shade your way. What do you think about people nice liberals, who are telling you shouldn't be celebrating the MAGA tears, you shouldn't be celebrating and smearing it? I'm going to use the whole Yiddish. And you're smearing it. You shouldn't be smearing it in those poor Trump supporter faces about how they lost. You shouldn't be doing that, Chris. You're being mean, and you gotta raise. You gotta move your. I don't support any of this, but you gotta show a hand, an olive twig, a leaf, a branch for those nice Republicans who supported the fascists for so long. You shouldn't be being so mean. What do you say to them, Chris?
I've had a couple of those.
Well, I'm sure you have. So we all have.
Now, one of them was this guy who I thought was cool at first, and just seems like every time I turn around, he keeps coming at me with this uber left nonsense, like I'm some kind of villain. I'm like, dude, you need to go away. And finally, I told him, go the fuck away. And he didn't go away, and then I made him go away, so he popped up on my other channel. But I don't play with those kind of people. I make my own little, what do you call it? Echo chamber's my echo chamber. Get the hell out if I don't like it. But there's been other people. There are people. Here's my thinking. And thank you, Andy, for bringing that up. Oh my goodness. There are people in our group, our left-leaning nutbaggery group, our liberal group, who are not really liberals. They're not. They're conservatives. Their inner core is conservatives. They're just part of our group because they're atheists. And they want to get in with our group of atheist YouTube content creators. So they put on the airs of being liberals as much as they can, but they're not really liberals. And I would point out one, I'll openly say, like Dave Worley. He's not really a liberal. He just kind of plays in our group when he talks about it. He's the one who come at me on Twitter going, "Oh, you have to be nice and not, they're gonna be winning in 4 years and they're gonna be mean to you, so you better not be mean." You know what? They've been mean to us for years and years and years. And I made a post about it and posted. I didn't go off on Dave. I try not to start fights with other atheists in our community. Like some people looking at you, Nokasuchi, looking at you.
Me?
But, that's kind of my deal. To come at me with that stuff after years of this, I'm like, you know what? This is what I told the other guy. I'm like, why weren't you going after the right? Where's your posts of you going after them going, "Oh, hey, don't be talking about liberal tears"? I never saw none of that from you. Exactly. And yet now they've lost and you're coming at me with, we got to be nice. My ass, hell no. To hell no. These people just tried to subvert our democracy. Hell no. They're going to be lying on the streets like this picture, and they're going to be crying and bawling. Yes. I'm not normally that kind of person, but
I've got this a lot too. Some from Trump supporters, but mainly from Democrats. And it's this whole Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high bullshit.
That worked out really well.
That worked out great.
Yeah. It cost us an election in 4 years.
And that's what I was telling them. Where were you when they were rubbing the salt on our wounds? Where were you when they were laughing about the Hillary Clinton tears? Where were you when Trump was doing what he is on my screen right now with my avatar, making fun of a handicapped person? Where were these people any of the time in the past 4 years calling out any of the atrocious things that Donald Trump said? Pocahontas,
truth.
All of that. They weren't there. And now they want us to do what they couldn't do themselves. To hell with them people.
With them people.
Being nice to the Tea Party conservatives and to these fascists got us Donald Trump in the first place. It's time to take a different tact, in my opinion.
Exemplifies Here's a post that I posted in response to the David Worley post. And this is exemplifies why I'm going to lap up those little Nazi tears. I'm lapping them up today because of that right there. That's exactly what happened. Right?
Yes. I loved that. I posted that myself.
I have to tell you, as a comedian, you become, doing comedy makes you very tolerant of other people's ideas, especially if they're on your own side. So if Chris wants to be riffing on people about MAGA tears, then I'm not going to say you should not be doing that. I had an interesting guest on my show on my channel yesterday, Pat LaFord Green, and he has a child who is trans, and this guy has had a fight for the last 4 years against Betsy DeVos's insane machine, as well as the bigotry in his kid found in high school, in the high schools that they were in. And he's like, look, he made a very strong case. It's like, look, there have been a lot of people who have suffered under the Trump administration. And if they want to take a couple of victory laps, now this is my language, if they want to take a couple of victory laps right now, all the more power to them. That's fine. I'm not going to tell people how they should feel, I guess. I'm a little cautious, of course, and I've been cautious about taking victory laps. But, ultimately, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, and that's fine. Right. You've earned it. But he was saying, once again, that there are people who have suffered under the Trump administration. And if they want to celebrate, that's just people being people. And he doesn't have a problem with that.
Well, right now, my understanding is there's still people, I'm going to post it up there. I posted it up on the screen. Jadzia Dax says they are still trying with their stop the vote counting to subvert the election, to subvert our democracy. And we're supposed to be concerned about their feelings. What was that jackass's name who they had up on CNN the other day? Rick Santorum, trying to plead off, you need to be considerate of the right's feelings. Right's feelings, my ass. And CNN, brother, why'd you even have that moron on your channel anyway? He's like he's a right-wing nutbag. He's not a GOP guy. He's a Tea Party guy. He leans more Tea Party nutbaggery than he does. The only reason why he even at all played nice on your channel is because he was surrounded and outnumbered. Put him over on their channel, and he'd be doing the same thing the rest of them are. So, take that.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say that I suppose I should say this at this point, is that I still think Dave Worley, he may be wrong. I may disagree with him on certain things, but I do not at 1 minute think he's not making a good faith effort. I guess there's a pun there, a good faith effort at trying to do the right thing. That's my read on this.
Maybe, and I don't normally, like I said, I don't normally bang on him. The only thing I'm talking about really in context is this, but I've had other conversations with him. I had a conversation with him about eating meat, and it did not matter. It did not matter to him at all. No matter how tasty and delicious it was, no matter what it looked like, no matter how it smelled, unless an animal died to provide that meat, he wasn't interested. And that was a whole conversation. It's just it's just things like that kind of tell me he's not really as left as he would have us believe. He's an atheist, and he's trying to make it in the atheist world, and that's what we are. We're liberals, and I can't really blame him. I'm not trying to blame him. I'm just saying he came at me on Twitter, and that's the only reason why we're bringing this up.
Oh yeah. I hear what you're saying, and I know that it is this is why I said it, because I like to stir the pot a bit. And I know that other leftists on Twitter have had blowback about celebrating the Trump defeat, and like my buddy Dan Arrow, who big leftist, and he's been he's in constant Twitter wars with people. Yeah, but I'm not going to say, Dan, you shouldn't be celebrating the MAGA defeat. Take a couple of victory laps. The fascists lost. Yeah. I think, no one in VE Day, Victory in Europe Day, would anyone go, we should really be sensitive about those fascists' feelings. And we shouldn't be celebrating.
Yeah, like I made a comment yesterday about, what happened to this country. The most American thing that you could do always before was punch a Nazi in the face. And now all of a sudden you've got these really uber left-wing people saying, what are you talking about? That's violence. And I'm like, well, it's fascist. What are you talking about?
Right. And this notion that Trump is going to get in office and be some kind of good fascist because he agrees with them and he hates the brown people and he hates the poor people and he hates foreigners or whatever. That's ridiculous. You know what happens when they get power? We saw how close he's right now in the throes of trying to not give up power through a democratic election. They did everything they could to squash a democratic election. This is not right. That was not right. They should never be allowed.
Sorry, Andy, I just want to point out to my liberal friends too about this idea about being soft and being empathic. If Joe Biden decided that he was going to be more strong, less, Americans hate voting for people who have empathy. I'm just going to throw it out there right now.
That's a good point. Yeah.
They would rather, and I got like a bunch of presidential election results to show that. The reason why we didn't win more, the reason why we didn't completely clobber the other side in terms of House seats, whatever, is one of the reasons is because Joe Biden and the Democrats decided to go with this empathy angle as against to being strong first and then empathic second. Americans just don't like voting for empathy. They would rather have a strong leader. And yeah, that's all there is to it. So when we talk about how empathic we need to be in public to Republicans and MAGA people, you should always keep that in the back of your head.
Well, they could have chosen a strong leader and not chosen Trump. They could have gone the other way and embraced normal, as wholesome as it gets, GOP conservatism without the right-wing crazy nutbag. They could have tried. They didn't even try. Nobody even tries.
They had several choices. And instead of going Jeb Bush, whom I despise the Bushes, but it would have been that normal conservative, moderate Republican, they went with Donald Trump. And don't forget, the number 2 guy was going to be Ted Cruz. Yeah, who was it? Mitch McConnell said something like along the lines like, Republicans hate Democrats, Democrats hate Republicans, everybody hates Ted Cruz. That was their second choice.
Yeah, not wrong, not wrong. But, it's just, that's one of those things. The repercussions of this should follow them forever. They should never be allowed to hold office again. They could have, and I'm not necessarily talking about the first time. I'm talking about this last time. The first time they elected Trump, they thought certain things, and oh shit, look what happened. He's killed all these people. At that point, 6 months ago, a year ago, whenever they were doing their conservative primaries, 2 years ago, whatever, they should have primaried his ass, had somebody else in there, and removed him because he was doing such a horrible, horrible job at that time. They should have.
Well, and somebody tried.
At that time, he was talking about not relinquishing power too, so...
Yeah, the one guy that tried, I can't remember his name. He was, like one of the most atrocious Tea Party Republicans, as extreme as Trump, and he couldn't even get on any ballots to try to primary the guy. Like they're so ingrained in this Trump death code. I can't remember his name, but everybody, I'm sure y'all know who I'm talking about. Walsh, I think his name is, something like that. He ran for president. He was running for president until he realized Republicans weren't going to support him because he's not as big of a douchebag as Trump is.
That's a testament to the character of that political party, of the people
it's they've had 40 years of being weaponized, of stupidity being weaponized, evangelicals being weaponized by the Republican Party, by the oligarchs, and once again, Trump is the natural result of that. It's sad, but and that's the thing. What we have to remember is that trickle-down economics, right-wing politics, right-wing economic theories, and or the lack of social programs are the existential threat to the republic. Whether they are moderate Republicans or far-right Republicans, those policies are poison to our body politic. Right.
Yeah.
Jadzia Dax in the chat says Trump is just afraid of repercussions of his scandals. That's why he doesn't want to lose power. Absolutely, of course. But let's extend that to his entire adult family. All his adult children, his wife, all of them, Kushner, Barr, all of them, they all need to be, if they've done it, they've done it. This is not your normal level corruption. We get normal level corruption. We get that.
What William Barr has done since he's come in, he should be first. Trump should be first, and William Barr, he should be right there with the family too. All of these people need to be held accountable.
Yes. I have a question.
Go ahead. Yes.
I have a question. So I was watching Dave Chappelle's monologue on Saturday Night Live on this past Saturday. Brilliant monologue. I thought of this question. What are the chances that Donald Trump, in order to obtain his personal freedom, gives up his kids? Like he makes a deal. He makes a back door, back of the house kind of deal with Democrats. He goes, hey, listen, make me safe. Keep me safe from prosecution. And I'll give up Ivanka. I'll give up Don Jr. I'll give up Eric. What do you think the chances of that happening are?
I think that he might. The reports that I'm reading, and I'm sure you're all seeing them, is that there's mixed reports coming out of the White House that he's coming to the conclusion that he's lost, and that he's coming to the conclusion that he's going to steal it. You listen to the right-wing pundits, like on the radio, they're all saying that it was stolen from him. I was listening to Billy Cunningham on my way home from work yesterday, and it was like they stole it. How does Trump get millions more votes and loses it to a guy that couldn't pull 10 people to a campaign, blah, 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 blah. I think right now, he's coming to the conclusion, and I think that they're probably telling him that's his way out. Negotiate immunity for you and yours, and utilize that to save yourself basically and hand over power peacefully. So, pretty much like, holding a peaceful transition hostage and using it as leverage in a negotiation is what he's probably going to be doing right now.
Yeah. I thought that was definitely a strategy that he would exercise. And that's one of the reasons why he kept cultivating the white supremacists and the militias. is that it would be a bargaining chip for him during this time period to see whether or not he can get off scot-free. Now, if he can't get off scot-free, I think he would give up his kids. As Dave Chappelle says,
so do I,
yeah. Dave Chappelle made the joke that white people love giving each other up, when opportunities arise. I don't want to mischaracterize what Dave Chappelle said, but I thought that there was a bit of truth in that with Donald Trump. I think he wouldn't even think about it, giving up, especially Eric, Don Jr. or Ivanka to prosecutors, if it ensured his freedom, if it ensured his personal freedom.
I don't like that one.
Well, he already did it. Remember, in 2016, he sent Don Jr. to that meeting with the Russians, knowing that. You have to know that that's going to come back. There's a chance that people are going to find out. So Trump doesn't go. He doesn't go. He sends his damn kid. Like, he could have sent anybody, but he sent Don Jr. I think he's more than willing to throw any of them under the bus, except maybe Ivanka. They had that special thing.
Okay. So he would give up Eric first. We all know that, right? He'd give up Eric first.
Eric and Tiffany are gone,
Tiffany. I mean, yeah, that's obvious. All right. So Tiffany would just be like, Tiffany is someone he would throw in as a bonus, right? She might not even be doing anything wrong.
Yeah, they'd be like, we don't want Tiffany. No, take her now.
So he would say something like, take Don Jr., but you know what, Tiffany, even though you didn't ask for her, I'm just going to throw her in. She'd be like those, like when you buy the Ginsu knives on TV, you get the added bonus there for free. She would be like that. It's like, take Don Jr. and you know what, I'm going to throw Tiffany in as a deal just to sweeten everything and make everyone feel good. If that doesn't work, it'd be Don Jr., Tiffany, and Eric. And then, of course, one of the last dominoes would be Ivanka. Yeah, I think that's how the order would run.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
you can throw in Jared, because I have a feeling he's going to be blaming all of this on Jared Kushner. Stephen Miller's going to be like, he's going to push Jared out. Stephen Miller's going to marry Ivanka, become the son-in-law he always wanted. I can see all of this happen.
Yeah. We should do some kind of betting. We should have some kind of set of wagers about the complete collapse of the Trump clan. If they do collapse, about what it would look like in 6 months from now.
Yeah.
I have somebody in apparently a right winger in the Daily Atheist Morning Show podcast telling me we don't know what fascism is, and that our cognitive dissonance is unreal, and that
that's a really big word. That's a really big word for someone who doesn't understand the definition of fascism.
I know we're the fascists. We're the fascists apparently.
I dealt with that all weekend. I went into a Smoky Saint stream and I had this gung-ho ex-military dude. You don't know what fascism is, and I read the definition over. We
made a hey. Let's play the video, right? We still got 15. I won't play the video just because people don't know. They don't know clearly. Some of them don't know. All right, hold on. I got. Here's the button. I got to push the button, and then I go here. Today's world is confusing, and there's too much information for one person to make sense of it all. Which credit card should I pay off first? Is non-fat milk good for me? Who should I vote for? Let's face it, if you can't figure out high-interest milk, then how can you be expected to make political decisions that influence a country of over 325 million people? Well, that's why there's fascism. Fascism is the political, social, and economic system for today's world. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines fascism as a political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts a nation, and often race, above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of the opposition. Choose this ideology and life will be easy. Did you ever look at someone who uses really big words and think, I wish those libtards would just disappear? Well, under fascism, your dreams can come true. Under fascism, you won't have to worry about the pesky little things like brown people or atheists, or who in your country is entitled to basic human rights and who is not. Hint, hint, the answer is nobody. Yes, friends, this truly is the final solution you've been looking for. And if you're concerned if this form of authoritarianism will be up to your high standards, don't worry. American fascism will be the best fascism in the world because it's been endorsed by Jesus. So go out and destroy freedom and democracy by getting fascism today. Paid for by the Fascio-Conservative Party, formerly known as the GOP.
We know it's true.
That was fun. We just in case y'all missed it, we were laughing at them again. So never mind. So I don't know. They might. I'm to the hope though that he's not making any deals. He's going to hold on. He's going to try to push it. He's going to hope the GOP will go for it. The GOP will collapse. We'll end up dragging his ass in it, because otherwise he might end up being this powerful person for the right for a long time. He'll come out and he'll go, "You people need to vote for this guy," and they'll all go vote for that guy because their Nazi god leader is telling them to do so. And I don't want that. I want him as shamed as possible. He needs to be as shamed as possible. 237,000 lives, 250,000 people have died.
And once again, the statistics, it's probably close to 300,000 or over 300,000.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I think it's going to be a fascinating little experiment moving forward. We're going to see what is going to win with Donald Trump. Is it going to be survival instinct? Is he going to make that deal and leave the office? Or is it going to be his narcissism? I think that's going to be a battle to watch as it plays out moving forward.
Well, one of the things when it comes to this virus, though, we keep blaming him for the 200,000 deaths and the 7 million or 8 million now infections. But had we nipped this in the bud in China in the beginning and he not done what he did, it wouldn't have spread to other countries the way it did. It came through America and went other places. In fact, they had to cut us off. So whenever you think about the ancillary deaths and ancillary infections that could be directly related to Trump.
Tone down the complicated words for the Trump supporters listening and watching. Ancillary? What are you talking about, Chris? Come on. Dumb it down.
Yeah, they don't know words.
The Republicans. Chris is trying to respond to me right now. He's trying to think about, do I respond to Andy at all? Typically a bad move. You should not be responding to me and just yes and me and continue on your rant. I'm sorry. I'll just...
No. What was I talking about?
They're stupid.
We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dead Americans. I don't know what else we talk about.
Plus Europe. And you're making a really good point. Plus, what about
the other millions of people who've gotten this virus could be attributed to Trump, and the deaths that could be attributed to him. That's the loss of support across the world. I mean, like how emboldened, how have Muslims utilized Trump or extremist Muslims? I shouldn't say how have the jihadists utilized Trump and their recruiting and their propaganda campaigns? I think we should be looking at all of this. Really, they love to tout Trump as this non-war president. This is a guy that dropped in Moab for no reason, just to see how it glowed at night. I mean, come on. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy things this guy has said. Let me just write that down, though, because I got to, he does speak the truth. Big words, bad.
Words bad.
Yeah, I haven't been over to your chat. Has Flow State been over in your chat since he lost? No. Because I talked to him on Neils of the 604 Atheist channel right before the election, and he was full of gusto. And I haven't seen him in Flow State. I'm just saying, I miss you.
I suspect some of these tears are his.
I think someone on this show might have spanked him enough times that he's gone crying. He's just gone. He's moved to another corner in his mom's basement and just.
And here he is, Flow State. Woohoo! Talk about coming in. Man, that's perfect timing. Thank you for showing up.
So he was lurking. That's what he was doing.
That's okay. Sometimes you get the feels after you lose.
It's tough to cry and type at the same time.
His keyboard was slippery. Good morning, Flow State. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you're all.
I don't hope that at all. F that guy.
Yeah. Let me just minimize this. I got too much. I want to put up this thing because I just love. It's self-love.
Hey, I should just tell you this right now is that there's the news out there that there is the potential vaccine that's coming out, or at least
is it?
Pfizer has. This is just the news story. COVID-19 vaccine 90% effective in first analysis. Pfizer says. So there is hope that a vaccine, like a good vaccine, is coming our way relatively soon.
Wait, I thought the virus disappeared when Biden won. What are you talking about, Andy?
Well, it
I
will.
thought Trump was just going to nuke it. I thought he was going to drop nuclear bombs on the virus, tactical nuclear bombs.
That was perfect timing. That was. Flow State said he just happened to pop in at the perfect time. God sent him our way.
Yeah, God was whispering. Ray, you just talking about me.
Right, exactly. Excuse me. Let me do some looking around. I don't have a poll anymore. We used to run a poll.
So let me say this about this article about the COVID-19. There are no serious side effects, and I'll just bounce down a couple of paragraphs. Though there have been no serious safety concerns yet, Pfizer also said the company added that it would not apply to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, for emergency use authorization until it had 2 months worth of safety data, which will not likely come until the third week of November. So third week of November, that's when they're going to file with the FDA for the emergency authorization. So we'll see what happens third week of November. That's coming down pretty fast.
Yep. Oops,
yep.
Sure. Yes. You know what? I think let me answer this question real quick. Flow State has a serious question. I'm sure Andy, do you want to get this one? It's well, how hard?
I only respond to Flow State when I want to respond to Flow State. But you can ask me a question, and maybe I'll make fun of him. I don't know. I have yet to decide. Go ahead, Chris.
This is one of the quality ones that I think you'll appreciate, though. His question is: so, how hard are you going to whiplash when Trump is declared the winner?
God.
Pretty hard, I think. Yeah, I'm going to whiplash pretty hard. I'll be beside myself.
Is this what that's like when the slow kid in class thinks he has a really good question.
Like, stop listening to radio.
Oh, my fictitious God. Best joke ever, Chris, you told today. No. He really has a serious question. He has thought this out with his brain, his brainy parts. He wrote it down, and this is the best this kid can do. Excellent.
Yeah.
Best.
Yeah. Well, he said it with a straight face, I'm guessing. So.
Right. Stop listening to radio. Like, every right winger I've talked to ask me, like, their first question is, "What news do you watch? You watch CNN, don't you?" And I have to be like, "No, I watch other news sources. I don't really like CNN. They're oligarchy." Yeah. You guys stop listening to Hannity. Like, they're literally bitching about Chris Wallace, who's like the one news guy on Fox News. They hate him now. It's the opinion people. Like, they're like, they are the news. No, just stop.
Yeah,
watch
news. Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity. They are editorializing. These are not news sources. These are people who are basically giving you hand jobs so that you will watch their commercials and click on their links.
Yes.
These are not news sources. And they'll tell you that. Tucker Carlson's people will tell you that this is not a news source. He is there for editorializing and entertaining you. That's it.
Yeah, but they're mad because Chris Wallace does his job. It's like they don't understand what news is. It's that post-truth era. I put something on Facebook the other day. Is, it used to be I think therefore I am, and now it's I have an opinion therefore I'm right. That's the post-truth era we live in.
But whenever we compare, and Andy's mentioned this several times, whenever we compare things like MSNBC's, they lean to the right or left. We know that. CNN, they're more center left, but fat, kind of weird. Whenever we look at them and compare that to Fox and Hannity and all these Rush Limbaugh and all these just absolute hypocrisy machines, lie machines, it just twists. I mean, the left is nowhere near that, but they're not sinless. Not at all. We know this. All you got to do is go, Nokasuchi, are they sinless? And this man will tell you ad nauseum for hours how they are not sinless. But even he will agree it's comparing a Tootsie Roll to a pile of poo.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Chris.
Nobody really wants the Tootsie Roll rolling our government, but still, it's better than a pile of poo.
Still up. Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Or hats. True enough. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Andy, thank you. Nokasuchi, thank you guys for joining me again today. flow state. And all you wonderful people over in the damn nation, thank you all for joining us. And Andy, you got anything going on, brother, before we head off?
Just chaos. My latest satirical post on my Laughing in Disbelief blog is about the, let me say it again, satirical pieces about the recent Joe Biden sex tape that came out. So if you want to have a chuckle,
is there a Joe Biden sex tape came out?
I'm not going to ruin the joke. It's a satirical article, I'll say for the third time, but you should check out the blog, Laughing in Disbelief on Pathos. I have a lot of fun over there riffing on religious fundamentalists and Trump and oligarchs. So, and if you go over there, thanks. I appreciate your clicks. And hopefully I'll offer a couple of laughs.
Awesome.
And some,
don't run off, people. We're going to run another commercial before the end of the show. We're kind of trying to show folks who've missed them. So, Nokasuchi, what do you got going on, brother?
We are at 1:00. Going to be running the Apostate Alliance, trying a new day at a new time. Hopefully, get some more views over there. We'll be talking to an ex-Muslim about his coming out of Islam story. We're really trying to. We feel that this show is important, and we want to get as many eyes on it as possible. So if you guys haven't seen an Apostate Alliance, check it out. It'll be a pre-recorded show this week, but starting on the new day today, Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern.
I do want to say that I did have this conversation with Pat LaFoot Green on my channel yesterday. He is a parent of he's an ex-minister. He is an atheist, and he has a blog called Transparent Expedition on Pathos. And we talk a lot about his struggles as a parent, fighting the system, advocating for his child who is trans. And so that was a good an hour well spent yesterday. Yeah.
Good. So, all right, people, check that out. Andy's got some good stuff going on. Let me see. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run this funny. I'm going to do Wild Bill. I'm going to make a watch Wild Bill if they haven't seen Wild Bill. So you guys have
real quick, Ian Davenport. I must be totally missing you on my Patreon screen. I'm just not seeing your message. I will fix that today, my dude. And I sincerely apologize if Patreon they make it too difficult to find all of your current patrons sometimes. So yeah, I will definitely adjust that.
Yeah.
I've had to actually, and I don't know what happened with me and Ian. I think it was Ian. They bumped his back to 10.
Yeah, like Patreon they need to do some updating on their system for the content creators, because they do make it difficult on us. And it's happened with several people where I missed them, and then they have to tell me, hey, I'm not on your screen. And then I go and I have to dig and I find them. So Patreon needs to make that a lot easier for us. I think.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. True enough. Yeah, I've had a hard time with a little bit of a trouble with it myself. So, all right, guys, we will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Be safe.
Yeah, see you later.
Hello, and welcome to Shakespeare with a Redneck. What the? I am Wild Bill Wigglestick, and I'll be your handsome host, your gilded guide, your cowboy concierge of Shakespeare. Dude, really? Today on Shakespeare with a Redneck, I'm going to perform the prologue from Romeo and Juliet. Damn it, Bill. Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end not could remove, is now the 2 hours traffic of our stage, the which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend. Hey, that wasn't half bad. I'm not as dumb as I look. Of course not. You'd be in a coma. Okay, so here's a quick rundown of the situation. Bill, two snot-nosed brats ignore the warnings of their learned parents and end up getting 4 people killed. Bill, come on, man, you're always blah, blah, atheist stuff, blah, blah, boring. Say something fun, for goodness sake. What? Particle is a fun word. Bill, particle. Bill, or talk about horses and dogs. People love horses and dogs. Or boobies. Everybody loves boobies. Bill, oh, can I say boobies on YouTube? If you close your eyes, it doesn't count. Talk about boobies then. Okay, everybody loves those cute little blue-footed bastards. It hurts right here. Culture, baby, coming at you. Avoid bringing a plague on both your houses. A plague on both your houses! By hitting that subscribe button, then that little notification bell. And bang that thumbs up button like frisky cousins at a family reunion. Thank you and take care. Peace. I was kind of hoping you... Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, Cindy Plaza and Ian Davenport. Thank you and have a great day.